listener. Hey, good morning. Sandeep, are you there?
I'm
Hey,
there.
brilliant. Brilliant. Nice hair. I'm
Thank you.
loving it. You look,
Thank you
you
very
like,
much.
you look get prettier. What's going on? How do you get more prettier
It's my
every single
turkey
time
hair.
I see you?
I've gone bald, really. It's turkey hair.
Gotcha. I'm thinking about turkey hair. Um, I'm yeah, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm not far off. So well done on maintaining yours in the way that you have.
Thank you.
It's anyway beautiful to see you. Thank you for staying on. Um, Jalf certainly. I don't know, Jalf, have you like?
Sandeep, sorry, man.
Hey, Jeff,
Happy
how you
belated
doing, bro?
birthday, Sandeep.
Thank you, mate. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Another year, eh? Bloody hell.
We've got a cake for you.
Have you? Where's
Jalf sorted out. Jalf, did you make it?
Yeah, I made one with chili chocolate.
it?
Yeah. Chili chocolate.
Lovely.
Um, anyway, good morning, listeners. Good morning, viewers. We've got the wonderful, super, stupendous Sandeep here. And I don't know what word rhymes like what J? What positive words start with J? Here's a competition on a Friday morning.
Jay,
Gosh, gone
positive.
quiet.
Hmm?
Yeah,
Yeah, no?
we'll come up with something.
Yeah,
We,
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 Or we'll
we need to
make
put it
it up.
on Spice Quest that. We have this Spice Quest thing where we ask a question. Positive word that rhymes with J.
It starts with J. Starts with J.
Starts with J.
January.
juicy.
J.
That
Juicy.
positive.
I don't think it starts with J either, Jeff. Come on, go back to
Yeah,
school.
it does, man.
Juicy. Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, what you eating? Obviously you're eating. Is that his cake that you're cutting
Uh,
live on air?
no, I'm about to have I'm being naughty, man. I'm having a chocolate croissant. It's my
Chocolate
breakfast.
croissant. Oh my gosh. Uh, Sandeep, did you make any resolutions? Did you do anything?
If I'm to be honest, I didn't. I didn't make any resolutions, and I should have done, but I didn't. I didn't bother. I put a quote up about not making resolutions. That was my
What?
resolution. Don't
I
make
think it's a great.
resolutions, just crack on with things.
Yeah, well, I think that's the right advice, to be honest, because on I don't know. I think resolutions are very difficult, aren't they? Do you really is why can't you not make a resolution any time of the year? Why does it have to be the 1st of December?
Very true.
It's not even 1st of December, Jeff.
I mean,
It's
first of January.
1st of January. Jeff, you need your coffee,
I
is what you need.
know.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. You've got some. Yeah, I agree. As in, you don't need a date to motivate yourself. Although it's nice that people do. The reason why I ask is because by now it's this final week where the vast majority of resolutions have failed when it relates to sort of health, and people were eager for these six packs, these toning, these all of these things that didn't materialize in the 2 3 days they actually went to the gym. So people are impatient. So yeah, it's interesting. And the other thing is, actually, I haven't had any bread this year, and I haven't had any sweets or chocolate this year, um, which I don't think I've struggled with.
Can you feel a
As in
difference
even
with that?
sorry.
Can you feel a difference?
Well, I mean, I haven't had any like sugary type things. Do I feel different? Yeah. Um, and anything that is made of sugar or anything like that. So, um, I've definitely slept better, having more vivid dreams. Like as in, which obviously is a deep, deep sleep. Um, and because normally on a weekend, during the week, I don't eat that much rubbish anyway, right? Or I thought I didn't, but November and December, I just fell off a wagon, whatever it was, and like woke up on New Year's Day feeling like, gosh, something needs to give. is why I felt and why I made that decision. And I do feel better. Um, Although the thing that I didn't give up, and admitting this, my feelings online, the things that I didn't give up was I decided I didn't want to give up crisps or nuts. So the first week I found myself just eating lots of crisps, even when I didn't want them or needed them, because I didn't give them up, which was a funny thing. But yeah, that on a weekend, not eating lots of rubbish, not like staying up late, not doing anything, whatever it is. Well, I mean, staying up late, but as in staying up late and eating rubbish, um, made a big difference. I feel as if on a Monday, I'm like, I don't feel sluggish, is the thing. So yeah, it helps. I think the diet is a big thing. Have I lost any weight? No, not really. Am I still sort of, turning into, am I thinning on top and thickening in the middle? Yes, definitely. I don't know what to do about that. But Jeff, we were just talking about turkey hair. When did you get your turkey hair done?
Turkey hair.
You can tell Jeff's a lot younger than us because his hair is absolutely jet black, isn't it?
Not so much.
He uses color cola. Is what he does.
But there are some things that you can do to make the hair look younger than what it actually is.
Tell us them.
I'm
I'm telling you though. The secret.
Yeah, there's a secret change. Yeah. What is it?
No, I think it's just a matter of how you trim your hair and stuff like that. I mean, I would never put
Trim your
anything
hair.
on my hair. I really don't believe in the type of products that try and because the hair dye and everything. I mean, what is that? You dye your hair, but then you're gonna do it forever. I think it's better just to let it go and it gets to where it is. But if you can trim and cut your hair regularly and stuff like that, I think that does make a difference. Go get your hair cut
Like your garden. A bit like your garden.
every 10
A
days.
bit like your grass.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's like if you trim your grass regularly, it grows thicker, it grows better, the sun gets to it, the water gets to it. And I suppose it's a similar type of concept, right? I had white hair since I was 16. It was
Really?
great. Yeah. So I had not like real white, but it was like silvery type of color.
It was just
Um,
it was just
so I started wearing hair gel because a little bit of hair gel just makes it look black. And even now, my hair um is and I don't dye it. I've never dyed it. Although I've bought, I've from a vanity perspective, I've gone into um Boots or whenever last couple of years and thought, oh, I'll get this Grecian whatever, and I'll get this hair dye, and I'll get this, and I got this stick thing for my beard, right? And, uh, and it's a bit like mascara, is what it is. If you've ever tried mascara, I haven't tried mascara, but apparently the concept's the same thing. And you just like sort of dab it on wherever it was. But it looked as if I'd like colored it in. It was looked as if it was like a kid's thing, because it's like whatever. Anyway, it's great this show is about business, right?
So
And
we're
it's
talking about men's
showbiz,
hair products.
men's hair, men's, yeah. No, but the reason why I asked about Jaff, because actually people would look at Jaff's hair and go, that's typical turkey hair, isn't it? It looks like it.
what's that? Like a hair transplant and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess I could say I'm quite fortunate then that I haven't had the need to go to Turkey. And when you see those guys on the airport and they've got those patches everywhere, obviously they have to go through that kind of undignified kind of few days, don't they? Where there's nothing that you can do about it. You must be able to, you have to show the holes in your hair and the plasters on your head and hopefully somehow get to the UK, but make sure you don't know anybody in the airport, make sure you don't bump into anyone that you know on the journey, get to your house and then restart I guess the new beginning, however way they do it in workplaces and stuff like that.
I was going to say, Jeff, you were describing something incredibly vividly and quite personally because
Well,
I hadn't thought about it in that
yeah,
way.
if you do think about it, Ammar, when you see the people at
I thought about you.
Istanbul airport and
I
stuff.
thought you were just telling us. You were sharing your journey.
No, not so much. Hopefully, I don't need to
Well,
let.
I don't think you will. You've got beautiful hair. Well done.
Mm.
I was complimenting Sandeep's hair. Sandeep just keeps looking more like a movie star. Anyway, Sandeep,
He
tell
does.
us, tell us what's going on.
Bless you. Thank you.
You were at a faith event, obviously as the
Yeah.
president of the Mandir, which is the Hindu
Yeah.
temple for our British white non-Punjabi speaking followers, watchers, is what it is. So tell us what's going on.
Yeah, it was good. It was, I mean, I think with my current position at the temple, we're just trying to connect with everybody of all faiths, of all backgrounds, of no faith, and I think there's a lot of negativity over the summer, with all the aftermath of obviously the Southport murders, which is so tragic and heartbreaking. Still, obviously, big in the news at the minute. But I think one thing that came out of the unrest afterwards was that communities really kind of trying to cement and connect with each other. And this event we went to, it was a beautiful event. I mean, it's the first I lived in Newcastle that many years, and the first time I've been to Newcastle Cathedral, St. Nicholas's in the city centre, which I was quite ashamed about, but it's just a breathtaking building. I'm
Sandeep,
sure.
is that the one near Top?
Yeah, the one opposite Tup Jaff,
Yeah,
the one sort of top to bottom
yeah,
of the big market,
yeah.
and the history. We were invited by Lee and Zoe there, Lee Batson and Zoe Hemming, who are the pastors or the reverends at the cathedral. Lovely people, and Nitin, our good friend Nitin, facilitated a meeting with the chief constable, and just grew it was such a good meeting. There's people from different faith backgrounds. There was Jaswinder there from the Gurdwara. There was myself. There was Sully and Yunus Bhai there from the mosque, and Irfan there as well from the Faizan Bahu Mosque. Tugay was there from the Dialogue Society, and it was just, and what the thing was, we all, Nitin said, right, everybody bring some food. We're like, okay, this is interesting. And we were in this church, and food's an amazing thing, isn't it? When you almost break bread with people, it almost brings down barriers itself, doesn't it? It's just an
Mm.
amazing thing to share. And that's all we did. We went there. There was no agenda. There was no like, oh yeah, you speak now, you speak. It was just like we just sat, we chatted with each other, we had food together. Vanessa, who's the chief constable, she said a few words and really encouraging and positive words. Northumbria Police, I believe, have just been totally in their element. If anything, 2024 year was definitely for me the year of Northumbria Police, and they really stepped up to the challenges that we all face. So yeah, it was really good. I'm really enjoying going to these events. Obviously, last Friday, Jaff, we were at with Ammar. Sorry, we were at the hate crime event, which I really enjoyed it as well. Real sort of positive conversations there as well.
Mm. So, Sandeep, can I just ask a little bit more about the cathedral? It's a cathedral or a church? Did you say?
It's a cathedral.
So, is it do they actually use it quite regularly, or is it more a touristy destination these days?
No, they do services there.
Okay.
And forgive me, can't remember. They told us the service times, but forgive me, I can't remember. But this cathedral, Jaff, it's just totally mind blowing because most of it dates back to 1685, and there's
Wow.
pillars there that are from the 12th century, and
Wow.
it's just unbelievable. I mean, I always look at I'm a big kind of, I know it's a bit geeky, but civil engineering type things always kind of are awe-inspiring for me. And you
Yeah,
think,
yeah, yeah.
okay, the building technology we have now, they put up skyscrapers in like literally months, don't they? And you think, how would they build such an intricate structure like this in 1685 when they wouldn't have had the technology? And it's just like, it's almost it's just unbelievable how they put
Yeah,
up this, and it's so
We've
intricate in
lost
the
we've
detail.
lost a lot of that skill set,
yeah,
Sandeep, is what
Yeah.
we have. So master masons. I mean, the purpose of the Freemasons was originally from King Solomon's time, right? And we all religions recognize King Solomon. You know, he purposefully asked for wealth and sort of it was given to him in abundance, and he created the opportunities for people to build things. Newcastle's an amazing place. We, if you recall, had a relationship with the Lytton Phil. Jeff, can you remember coming
yeah,
along
yeah.
to the Lytton
Amazing.
Phil? And it's got one of the oldest Islamic books in the world, right? Is at the
Wow.
Lytton Phil. And I mean, Newcastle is steeped in so much history and heritage and industry. We revolutionized shipbuilding, we revolutionized energy, electricity, light, street lighting, all of these things. And the cathedral, it's a beautiful place. I'm very fortunate to have attended many events there, and I would encourage as many people to get in there as they can and support it. It's a charity. In fact, there's a dinner that we were asked to support. It's quite expensive, but I might take a table, and if you're interested, you're very welcome to then come and join it. There's only sort of 10 or 2. It's not a significant event,
Hmm.
but it's for charity. It's a
Absolutely.
big deal, and it's quite unique as well. Is what it is. So we'll have a look at that. But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the difference between a cathedral and a church is a cathedral is and usually cathedrals only ever featured in cities, and that was why a city became a city because it had a cathedral. Um, the Queen bestowed the city title on a few places as part of her one of her anniversaries, and I believe Sunderland ended up becoming a city. Prior to that, it wasn't. So Gateshead's not a city, doesn't have a cathedral. North Shields, North Tyneside, all of these places, and Durham does and has, and Newcastle does and has. Whereas churches can be anywhere. A cathedral has a bishop, and that's the bishop that you met. That's the significance of it.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. It's
It's
beautiful.
awesome. And like you say, I would just say, I mean, I've driven past it so many times
Yeah, yeah,
for all my life, literally for
yeah.
God knows how many years, and I've never thought to go in, but I highly encourage. And they have the very welcoming, and they have like touristy stuff. They have services on. And Zoe and Lee, they're absolutely amazing. So very, very much encourage people to go in if you haven't been in.
Good. Well done.
Good.
Sandeep, so you're leading the civil society, and I mean, curiously, I was yesterday at, um, at police headquarters in the morning. I've never been there. In Wallsend, it's a significant building. It's almost what you imagine
Yeah.
a an American type of police building to be. You go in and it's like anyway. I was part of a stakeholder panel for the recruitment of the assistant chief constable, which was an interesting conversation
Well, it's
as
interesting you
well.
mentioned that because I went at Middle Engine Lane, and you're right, you expect a little police station and there's this mega building like this corporate headquarters, and it's brilliant, and it's good because I mean, I'm happy to say that Northumbria Police are working quite closely with Spice FM on their current recruitment campaign. So in the next week or so, you will hear some adverts going on air which I'm really chuffed about. And we're going to be telling stories, Ammar. So we've got obviously with Ramadan coming up, we've got the story of a young Muslim police officer who's going to come in and share his experiences of what it's like being a police constable during Ramadan and how they have made cultural changes or they've accommodated him culturally for obviously observing the holy month of Ramadan. So really looking forward to sort of bringing that on air at Spice FM.
Yeah, yeah, well done. And let us amplify that through obviously ABC. Thanks, Carl. We have had many a police officer on this show. Jeff, your cousin, is it not your cousin? Or then was it not like anyway, we've had like detectives, we've had sergeants, we've had sort of Pakistani, Bangladeshi, um, we've had Indian um,
Yeah,
sort of uh, police officers. So South Asian,
yeah,
the force isn't as representative as it wants to be, or arguably should be. At the same time, for me, what's more important is communication and conversation. It doesn't matter what color you are. There's huge differences from the north of India to the south of India. There's cultural, religious, like there's huge differences across those individual countries that bring about elements of misunderstanding and division, whether that's religion or culture or whatever it is. So to be sat here and expect everyone to be represented is a big ask, right? Well, far more important is understanding. So having those conversations, developing those relationships, and it being a bit of a quid pro quo. So, okay, we're going to bring you into the mosque, the masjid, the mandir, the gurdwara, and we're going to share some stuff about you, what we do, and why we do it, and how we do it. But actually, let's learn a little bit about you. Let's learn little bit about the history and heritage of here. Let's learn a bit about shipbuilding and all of these things that I've previously mentioned. Let's get into cathedrals. Let's get into churches. Let's get into wherever these places of worship are, and faith. I think is playing a bit more of an active role. More people are turning to religion uh, or returning to the church than they have previously for quite some time. Um, there had been a steady decline of people giving up faith. Now, I wouldn't say it's reversing or reversed, but it's certainly being addressed, is the thing. And then there's all of these alien interventions that are going on. So if you look to the skies and the stars in the next few days, you're going to see planetary alignment. You've seen stellar type of activity that we haven't seen before. And these are the aliens returning, having left us many, many years ago, around about the time of the Egyptians, where they'd helped build the pyramids and all of those things, inexplicable things. They're coming back now.
Baji, कितनी coffee पी ली है? Have you had double shots?
Allegedly.
How many shots of
What?
coffee you
Did
had
not?
this morning?
I thought it was that not convincing? Was it
Someone's
not
put something in his espresso. Huh?
You're not convincing.
Very good, very good, excellent. Yeah, yeah.
I would like to
Really?
meet. I would like to meet an. I'd like to meet an alien. I'll tell you a story. Right, one day, many years ago, Ammar, I don't know if you were responsible for inviting me. No, I don't think you. I don't think you were actually. There was an event before
Some
David
alien.
Cameron. It was before David Cameron became prime minister. Right. Someone invited me to a church in North Shields, and they
Right.
said that, look, we want you to go and listen to a talk by David Cameron. They did all of these checks and said that, yeah, you're verified. Go on, we've got your front seat row. So I went into this church, right? The only kind of brown man in there in North Shields, into this church, and David Cameron's there. And everyone was asking him questions, and he was given answers just off the cuff. Just any question, any answer. And then there was the guy very seriously asked him, he said, look, can I ask you that? I'm an expert on UFOs and stuff like that. And can you tell us, what are you going to actually do about UFOs? Are you going to really like tackle them and give the public information about it so we're aware of the risks and the good things and the bad things that aliens can bring to our planet? And he said, actually, I know an alien and I can tell you a lot about him, and he's an absolute maniac, and his name is Peter Mandelson. So, so, so it was. He's the answers that they were given was so cute, but the fact that he had to then answer seriously and say, yeah, well, you know, there are departments that are on this, and if there are anything that comes of significance, then I'm sure when it comes to the right time, the right moment, the public will be made aware of it. But that was his answer. That was going back, you know, a good 20 years probably.
Have you ever?
It's a very long time. It's a good answer. Obviously, these comments that we're having, these are not public announcements, and they're not our personal views.
Well,
all the views of Spice FM.
Well, other than mine,
well. Public.
Other than mine, I genuinely believe the aliens are. Anyway, that's a different conversation. That's and as Donald Trump starts releasing all of the information, Area 66 and whatever else, you're going to start seeing a lot of myths and conspiracies validated. Regardless of all of that, there is planetary activity that you're never going to see in your life happening over the next few days. Please look to the skies. Please look to the stars. If the sky goes somewhere where there isn't the level of light pollution outside of Newcastle, it doesn't take very much. You can even come up near to the airport or even Westerhope or wherever it is. You can get out of the light pollution. And if you look up, you will see such incredible sights and such vivid illustrations of all of our solar system and the alignment of the planets.
It's fascinating, isn't it? I love all that stuff, and there's got to be. I mean, there's billions and billions of stars out there. There's almost certainly something out there, right? There's got to be other life out there.
Well, of course, and then if everything aligns so amazingly, it can't just be by chance.
No,
it can't be that this is all being created by the Big Bang kind of philosophy of the world. Surely it can't be that. So there must be a greater being that is responsible for the creation of the universes around the planet.
Whatever people's beliefs, whatever people's faith, go out, experience it, have a look at it, enjoy it. It's these moments in life that you get too distracted with your social media and all of that. Sandeep, Spice FM, brilliant to hear, it continuing to make an impact. Thank you for sharing that about the police thing as well. It's a critical channel, isn't it? It's a critical part of the media and the medium to connect with everyone, and including, if they so wish, aliens, right? They can tune in to DAB and connect with us as well, if they so wish.
Hey, we're like the ABC. We're EDI. We're totally inclusive. You're an alien. We don't care. You can come into a radio show. I mean, I'm really happy at the minute with Spice has had, and I must big up our ops manager, Mr. Masood, and Amit, and Shamshad and Ponchi, who we've got a tiny little core ops team between kind of the four of us, and we've had this influx of new presenters over the last few months. And it's been so encouraging. And we had quite a dry period, but it's really, I'm really chuffed to see all the diversity that we've got on the air. And like you were mentioning before, Ammar, with India, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, the subcontinent, there's so many different languages and there's so many different cultures and backgrounds and experiences. So we're really lucky, I think, to be able to broadcast everyone's voices on Spice FM. So dead chuffed at the minute.
I think, Sandeep, one thing that I have to mention, and the fact is that all of the people you mentioned, your ops team, they're all doing it out of the goodness of the heart. It's all kind of it's not paid work.
Absolutely.
It's kind of their own time, their own contribution to the community. But it's not even the fact that it's something that they've been doing for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 6 weeks. And you yourself, you've been doing this for what, good 20 years, and that is some serious dedication. And I don't think maybe as the community realizes that the endeavor that you've put into it, the team have put into it over such a long period of time, and for what other than just trying to benefit the community.
Well, I think it's one, and I feel really bad sometimes because everyone says, "Oh, Sandeep, Spice FM," but it's actually much bigger than me. There's you, Jalf, there's Ammar, and you guys. I mean, look at this. You have been on air since literally day dot. 15 years, 16 years now on Spice FM, and very rarely does show business miss a show. It's like every week consistently you take, and you're both busy people, you take time out your schedule to do this. So this is an example of the volunteers. They're just passionate about what they do. And I think we're really lucky. We've never had really a paid worker. Everybody, and we've got about 60 volunteers really.
Amazing.
And we constantly have 50 to 60 people always on board. So
yeah,
it's good. It's good, but it's definitely a team effort. That's why we call the Spice family.
Excellent.
Brilliant. No, and well done. And actually, and interestingly, it was a Facebook memory popped up that had reposted somewhere from 2010.
Wow.
Was tune in January 2010. Tune in again for show business, whatever it is, and things like that. And I was like, gosh, that's 15 years ago. Isn't that like just mad that we've got these memories and whatever else? And mad, right?
Amazing.
So yeah, it is. It is. Apologies for that.
And same
Listeners,
with the
viewers.
ABC. If you think about it, you guys, I mean, we were kind of born together almost, weren't we? ABC and Spice FM,
Yeah, we would.
and ABC have done so much amazing stuff, and constantly there's initiatives. There's the new the awesome initiative, which is really good. That Iram Ali's heading up. So so many brilliant initiatives. So it's good. It's good. We're
Work
lucky.
we're lucky, we're fortunate, and we do it positively. That's the difference. Is we've purposefully set out our stall rather than going around hitting people on the head and talking about oh my gosh, like look at all of the challenges. That's not to say we don't do an element of that, but it's about recognizing the positives, and that's why Spice and ABC is very much a celebratory of different people, different places, different spaces, and it's wonderful. And you're right. And equally, ABC wouldn't be where it is without the partnerships. Working the support from Jalf, Amit's heading up so much with ABC now. It's brilliant. And whilst I appreciate that it's primarily been resourced, through my businesses and the team here. But equally, we wouldn't have got and wouldn't get to without that level of support either. So it's nice, and we love what we do. I love what we do. It's unique. If I look at a number of other organizations, so there was an organization that we, as ABC, had written to um, down in Leicester to help create this national, and those organizations aren't around. There's a whole host of other organizations, and not to say there was anything wrong with them. I'm just pleased and proud that we have continued. And probably one of the reasons, Sandeep, that we have is we've always been a not-for-profit social enterprise. Those things weren't common. They didn't exist. No other Asian representative organization was set up in 2009 as a not-for-profit community interest company. So because of that, we've got the governance, we've got the accountability, everything we do is regulated. We file reports to the CIC regulator and all of that. And I think that makes a big difference.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've when we started the CIC format didn't even exist. It was a company limited by guarantee, which meant there was no shareholders, and you had to have a social accountability, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been good.
It has. Um, okay, so what we've got going on. You mentioned the Awesome Accelerator. Become awesome. I'll tell you what it was. It was brilliant to see a group of Asian women, coming together and speaking very openly, speaking very honestly about business, being an entrepreneur. And all three of us are entrepreneurs, right? As in, that's what we do outside of this. Um, and the pain and the traits and the challenges and the reward isn't different, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're whatever it is. An entrepreneur is an entrepreneur, is and it was really interesting to see that, the desire, the passion, having a very open conversation about, okay, what does it mean as an Asian woman to be an entrepreneur? It's 100 times harder than being a man, because you've got all of these other things you need to consider. And it's not about Asian entrepreneur, actually. If I consider, sort of, any female, they have a different outlook, a different perspective. They feel more obligated to care and look after and take on a whole host of responsibilities. My wife, she wants to be a super wife, a super mother, a super housewife, a super worker, a super professional. It's like constant, right? As in, and who, uh, uh, gosh, who knows where the kids are meant to be, what they're meant to wear, all of these things. As in, I'm not. This isn't a stereotypical or misogynist comment. It's just the way it is. I'm very open and honest about these things. So I feel guilty. I'm constantly guilty. Oh my God, am I doing enough in the house? Am I doing enough here? Am I doing enough there? Which school do the kids go to? As in this type of thing. It's like I do try and take an interest, is what I do. But as in, I equally recognize that, I need to concentrate on this. I need to concentrate on what we do to be able to then support. And it is a bit you lean in. But yeah, I feel as if, women have a total different perspective, total different outlook to men.
Yeah, I think entrepreneurship is what's entrepreneur. It's being creative, and I think women generally are naturally more creative and entrepreneurial than men because they look at all the stuff. They'll balance and they'll come up with solutions literally on the spot. Where we might like, oh God, what do I do with this? What do I do with that? But they'll like, and that's what an entrepreneur is, isn't it? Coming up with solutions and being
Yeah.
creative. So fantastic, amazing
Yeah, so it's
initiative.
good. It's good. And then we've got, our curry club next Thursday. Looking forward to seeing you there, Sandeep, and the rest of the Spice FM team with their
Yeah.
banner, with their, as in, we need to get them along. We need to get all
Well,
60 of these.
let's do
Um,
it. Let's do it. Well, let's put
yeah,
message in the group, Ammar. Let's get everybody
well,
along. Why
you're in
not?
charge, so I'll let you do that. As
Okay,
in,
I'll do that. I don't mind.
every time I ever say anything, the magical Masood always, comes and picks on me. I love Masood for what he does. He does a brilliant job with operations. He is on the ball, so I'm very hesitant on saying anything. Jaff, Curry Club next Thursday. Big up.
Excellent. And well, the curry clubs are always so good. Great food brings so many different people together. And hey, everyone loves um, food when it comes to a business occasion, right? That's the thing that you look forward to. You're just kind of waiting for the meetings to finish and get into the food.
Yeah, we do. And we'll share the link in this video. It's really simple. If you're interested in coming along, It's AB Connections. That's connections with an X.org. Um, and we'll be talking about now about Spice FM as well. Uh, and uh,
Amazing.
and it's at I was going to say Raymond Wheel, but that's a watch, right? Raymond James. I remember my dad getting me a Raymond Wheel watch, which was like a really big deal
Well, they're
years
still
ago.
great watches, the Raymond Vales.
Are they?
Yeah,
Are
they're
they? Yeah, I can't even
still.
pronounce it. Jeff's a good watch person.
No, I think they've got a good reputation. Like you said, it's back in the day they were probably had a bit more aura about them, but they're still there in that mid-market range, and the Swiss Raymond Vales are still within a particular age group. They're very well regarded.
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't my dad. I think that must have been a Casio. It must be
Or
from from
05.
from
It was a
from
secret.
Seco, from Haji Barkat's down on Waterloo Street or whatever it was, and we'd go and get our annual anorak. Sandeep, did you ever go and get an annual anorak?
So we were right, a couple of things there I want to just mention. Remember the old days, right? The Casios. Remember the
Uh-huh.
digital one, the digital
Uh-huh.
one
Yeah, the black
When I
one.
had a
The black.
with the
calculator.
calculator stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And no, there was a silver one as well, and it had a little green light on it. So
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
how things
Oh, you
come
press and
around.
the light comes on.
Yeah, so
Uh,
my 17-year-old Nathan, this watch is really cool now, apparently. And I'm like,
uh,
what? So we used to have that when we were kids. So he bought this watch, I think from End Clothing. This is a
All
real
right.
iconic piece of. So he's got this watch that we used to wear in the 80s, and it's really apparently really cool. And the anorak,
that's
well, my all our family and a lot of Asians in that day in Newcastle were obviously in the fashion trade,
Uh-huh.
and our families were. So we had shops, and we used to sell what we used to call snorkel, and it was them big sort of anorak things, wasn't it, with the fur around the hood. So yeah, we were well stocked with snorkels and stay pressed trousers.
And was it designed by
depressed.
yourself, Sandeep, those things, or was it purchasing from other companies? Or was it?
No, well, I mean, there was in them days, there was all the big wholesalers, there's B&S Seagulls and Paul's Fashions and all them.
Yeah,
There's these
yeah,
big wholesalers. I don't know if you remember back in the sort of 80s. And everybody had little shops and they'd all go in the evening to the wholesaler and pick up loads of stock. Um,
yeah.
and oh my God, Bill Stunt jeans and burgundy stay pressed trousers.
There was another one, Joe Blogs. Was Joe Blogs not quite a big one on
Joe
Grange
Blogs
Market?
was a massive brand. It was probably one of the biggest brands in the country. I think kind of in the like sort of
But
late
it was the
mid
Asian guy that
90s.
owned it, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, Shami Ahmed from Manchester who
Yeah.
owned it.
What
Yeah.
about Jody Jeans? Jody
Oh,
Jeans was big.
iconic, iconic. So
And
they
and
used
what
to
about
make their own jeans in South Shields, didn't they? And then sell them in the shops.
Wow.
and what about Mr. Latif?
One
What the,
pound.
what Mr. Latif, the guy that would do your stitching and stuff for you?
Zips.
Zips.
And he actually done zips and bikinis. That's the part that I couldn't remember. I couldn't get my head around. He's like, I can fix it. And it was his accent. It was iconic, right? It was brilliant.
Carcoat, bikini.
It was, for only a pound, pound is what it was, but it was just brilliant.
Well,
And
that advert won national awards. Can you believe?
yeah,
Really?
it was
Yeah.
also because it was next to the motorbike shops. That's the brilliant, right? As in, if you remember, Western Hill, right, with the motorbikes, you couldn't get down the street on a Saturday,
Yeah.
and it was the best place. It was brilliant. I loved it, as in, because
Buzzing.
it was sort of, part of what our identity was. And if you think
Yeah.
about it, people
Yeah.
would travel on the motorbikes from everywhere, every type of motorbike, doing wheelies up and down it and whatever it is. And naturally it wasn't an Asian element. It wasn't something that we Asians would necessarily get involved in. And it's brilliant to see Sahil Khan, continue that motorbike trait and whatever else. But yeah, the motorbikes, the Sandeep, who was it? It was Haji Barkat, wasn't it? Who had the big space on Waterloo Street where the snooker underneath Windsor Snooker Club.
That was, as far as I remember, that was we used to call him Uncle Lolly, who used to have a warehouse, like a clothing
Yeah,
warehouse.
Lally's Warehouse. Yeah, I think it
Lolly's, and then
was.
upstairs was the snooker club.
Yeah.
With was it Jolly? Do you remember Jolly? A guy called Jolly used to run it. Oh my God, this is
He
going
did,
back
but it
now.
was like Ken Khan, wasn't it? Can you remember Ken Khan? Can you remember him?
Oh my, I can, the name rings a bell. There's all these names that kind of I'd never met these legendary characters, to be honest.
And there were so when I was studying, right? You talk about jeans and getting jeans made. When I was studying, I'd finish, um, and I'd go and work in a factory on Fourth Banks, and they made the jeans there. And
Oh
actually,
my
they
God.
made they made some of the jeans for a lot of the local wholesalers as well. And my job was to turn these jeans inside out, so denim, right? And you got paid £1 an hour. And I used to get a brown paper envelope, and I'd take it home to mum, and I'd do easily 30, 40 hours because I'd just finish my studies, go there, either like whenever I could during the day or in the evenings. And mum would open up the envelope, take a fiver out, give it to me, and keep the rest, right? And it was like, all right,
Wow.
great. Anyway, that was just that. But the point around the jeans part was, um, you used to turn. Imagine denim. Imagine how hard denim
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
So when it's being dyed, it comes on big, massive sheets, big rolls. You then put it out. You then do the cutting. You then do the stitching, and then you had to turn the jeans inside out. So your hands would get red raw, and you'd cover them with like sort of brown tape and things like that.
God.
And then I got promoted to the dye machine, and I'd actually put the paint on the front. Can you remember the jeans had the paint on the front, and it was like Bros, and it was Flintstones, and it was these type of things, and you'd put the dye on the machine on the jeans and put it through a drying machine, and it'd come out and
Amazing.
whatever else. It was good.
Amazing.
It was like all part of learning, or all part of the history and heritage, and they then opened 24 hours and whatever it was, and then they had to move stuff overnight because of whatever it was. In them days, everyone was like, it was like Lalas, and then it was Lala 2, and then it was Lala 3, and then it was like whatever it was in those days. But
Great days. So when
yeah,
manufacturing was great in this country, there was all these little factories everywhere making something or other.
and it was a skill, right? Going back to the cathedral thing, skill of using your hands to make something and learning a trade like properly, was it took an age, whether it was manufacturing, stitching, sewing, all of these things being automated to such an extent now that people have moved out. I was at the Nissan factory um, last year, and now they they hand drill the electric machines and whatever else, and they go along a line. And yes, a lot of it's fabricated, automated, but they still use people. But the machines simply do not allow you to make a mistake. So you use a machine, it lights up where you need to drill up this, you then light that up to drill this, and then you light that up, and then it finishes, and it has to be done at a certain torque, i.e., power, how much it's done, and all. And I'm just sat there thinking, these aren't engineers anymore, are they?
Bloody hell.
Like, these are just robots. They're real live robots. I think it's great because it, from a health and safety perspective and an end result and a quality perspective, I get it. But where is the engineering skill there?
It's all automated, isn't it? It's done for you.
Crazy,
Mm.
crazy. AI, and then obviously Donald Trump. Jeff, have you been following? Are you still there?
Yeah, I've not been following it with a kind of great deal of massive interest, but obviously you're still privy to some of the things that have been going on. I think it's massive, isn't it, for the world, because the American president is probably the most powerful man in the world, and if they come and make big changes, I think it impacts everybody. But I think some of the things I'm really intrigued about, for example, his stance on, and Ammar, we've talked about this, his stance on wind farms. He's saying they're absolutely horrible. I'm going to stop them all.
Yeah.
If you've got a wind farm on site in a beautiful countryside, your property goes down and doesn't do anything. So imagine all this time, Ammar, we've talked about it, all of these companies selling that particular product and saying that, oh, it's gonna do this, this, and this. But we always knew that it was inefficient, it was expensive, you would never get the money back or generate amount wind power from the investment. He's just come out and said it, and he's just, I'm going to stop it all. Now, imagine all the companies that were involved in that business, they're going to be kind of who probably knew it wasn't as efficient, and he's just coming out and telling it as it is. So there's things like that. I think it's really good. I think I'm pleased about him pulling himself out of WHO, the World Health Organization, because I don't think a organization should control what health decisions are made universally across the world. The fact that he's going to release JFK's files, that'll be very interesting if they do fully release that, because I think we all know what that's going to say if they don't fabricate it. It was probably done by the government themselves. So you've got a lot of things like that, which I think makes things interesting, against the grain of former presidents who probably weren't as bold enough to do things like that.
You're right. And the term is interesting, and obviously, we are apolitical, whatever. We're just the A team.
I'm just saying what he's already done.
No, and you're right. But you need to equally, highlight some of the facts. So the facts around some of the schemes, sadly, that were introduced have created such an impact on the cost of energy, right? Businesses are failing, have failed because of the cost of energy. Our older people can't turn on things because of the cost of energy. Now, where are those costs come from? Sadly, primarily through a number of these type of schemes. I mean, to give you an example, domestic natural gas prices are 2 pence a kilowatt in Argentina, right? 2 pence a kilowatt in Argentina. Here in one of the most developed countries in the world, with sort of a huge range of support and the ability to sort of negotiate our costs and everything else, gas here is 6.4 pence. Domestic electricity in Argentina is 4.8 pence kilowatt. In here, it's 27.5. Right? It's
crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And just one final part, there was an announcement that somebody with solar panels, part of an original scheme, was being paid 71.8 pence per kilowatt to generate electricity with his home solar panels, and an extra 29 pence to export it back to the grid. He's not generating that much, but there's still 13 years left on that subsidy scheme. So it's really interesting that because of these subsidies, because of these type of initiatives, the cost of energy has gone up. So anyway, whatever your views of Donald Trump, it is interesting. Let's see what goes on. The impact on us is quite significant. You've been listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
And the super duper
Sandeep.
Yeah, right here. I still haven't found a juicy word for Jalf yet. We'll get one for next week. We'll be back next week. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Bye.
Spice FM.